is such an amazing thing. I've learned so much already just chatting with some of the people who've been coordinating this. Just take a look. They're here getting ready to kick things off. The actual walk won't start till about 9 o'clock, so you still have plenty of time to come down here, show your support, and just learn a little bit more about that. To tell us some more about that is Jacqueline, and she's a PR person for this event. Tell us a little bit about your personal story and why people should come check this out.
Well, my name's Jacqueline Woldridge. I was diagnosed in 1987 when I was 5 years old. That is below the average age of when a girl with Turner syndrome is diagnosed. Normally they're diagnosed closer to 12, 13 years old. When I was diagnosed, we were told some misinformation that stemmed from years of bad research, and because of that, my parents decided to look further into Turner syndrome, and they ended up finding the national organization, the Turner Syndrome Society of the United States of America, and a couple years after that, we found the Bay Area Turner Syndrome Society back in 1989, which grew into becoming the Central and Northern California Turner Syndrome Society. In the last 5 years, through the national organization, each local area chapter has been putting on a walk to raise Turner syndrome awareness and to get the local state governments to do an acknowledgement and sign a proclamation declaring February Turner Syndrome Awareness Month. Doing these walks is a way for us to get our name out there.
So this is an amazing thing. We're talking so much about how inspirational this is meant to be, how it's supposed to bring awareness as well. Can you tell me a little bit about the meaning behind the idea of chasing butterflies?
Sure. When the organization began, they just chose the symbol of the butterfly. As butterflies are rare, they're delicate creatures, they felt that that was a apt symbol for the women and girls who are diagnosed with Turner's. So the name Chasing Butterflies is a way for us to celebrate the women past, present, and future who have been or will be diagnosed with Turner syndrome and raise awareness for them.
Such an amazing cause that's happening out here at the West Steps of the Capitol. You guys need to come check it out. Still plenty of time to register, come show your support, and just learn more about, this Turner syndrome that most people don't. So you guys should come check it out if you get the chance. Back over to you.
All right. Thanks now, Win Live for it.
Hundreds walked for awareness and change at this year's Chasing Butterflies event. The third annual event is organized to teach the general public about Turner syndrome. The non-inherited chromosomal condition affects 1 out of every 2,000 girls and women that can result in varying health conditions. This year
matters, bringing awareness to a genetic disorder. That was the goal of Chasing Butterflies Walk today. And the third annual walk for Turner syndrome awareness took place at the state capitol. Turner syndrome is a disorder in which a female baby is born with only one X chromosome. It affects about 1 in every 2,000 baby girls.
One of the main things is that they have short stature. Some of them have heart defect problems. Some women have thyroid problems, kidney problems. So we're just out here just to bring awareness to everybody.
Last year, Mayor Kevin Johnson signed a proclamation declaring February Turner Syndrome Awareness Month in Sacramento. The group is now working to make the declaration applicable to the entire state of California. Doctors at the Einstein...
Northern California, dozens of people in Sacramento walked to bring attention to a very unique cause. Today's walk was to spread awareness of the genetic disorder, Turner syndrome, and also raise money for the victims. The genetic disorder impacts 1 in every 2,000 women and causes infertility and also heart defects. Many of those who took part today have lost children to the disease.
We live in Fresno County, and we came across, by chance, a woman who I work with. Her daughter, Maddie, has Turner syndrome. So she's the surviving of our half of our family.
Organizers are also working to convince Governor Brown to make February Turner Syndrome Awareness Month.
Baseball season is just around the corner.
My peers. My parents noticed this, and that made them decide that the best thing for me right then was to take a break from school and go into homeschooling. We planned for me to go homeschooling until high school. It was in homeschooling that I learned that it does not matter what other people think or say. After all, they weren't going to get good grades, graduate 8th grade, earn my diploma or college degree for me. So, since I figured they weren't going to do anything important for me, I decided that I should just ignore them and what they said. But this also meant me letting go of everything that people had done to me in the past. I also found that when I let everything go, I was able to understand that actions and words could not hold me in the chains of sadness and despair they once had. From then on, I decided to base my life on my own personal values and opinions. Sure, it hurts to be made fun of or excluded, but part of having Turner syndrome is being strong. If we can be strong enough to bear the weight of Turner syndrome, then surely we should be able to carry the weight of being bullied, but also attain the ability to lift the weight off forever. After all, the feeling of sadness bullying brings is simply a weight that needs to be lifted. I did not end up staying in homeschooling as long as anticipated. I decided to go to one of my local public schools. My parents decided that they owed it to me to allow me to try public school because they had put me into the school where I had been bullied. I go there now and am very happy. People are nice to me and talk to me. Let's make the main mark of having Turner syndrome not being bullied but overcoming bullying.
Woohoo! All right, Emily, thank you. And let me tell you, I've been following Emily, and this girl has been through a lot. She is a strong girl. Let's give it up for Emily. All right, so next I'm going to bring up Miss Dana, and she's going to tell her a little about herself.
Okay. Hello, I'm Dana. I've been with the Northern California and Central California Turner Syndrome Society for about 2 years. When I was growing up, people didn't really know a lot about Turner syndrome at all, and there were like no support groups that I really know of. I wasn't even diagnosed till I was 10 years old. Like, my doctors would tell my parents that, oh, I was just fine, you know, I was just short. And I had a lot of problems, like with Emily dealt with, a lot of similar problems. You know, I was called small fry. I had, you know, a lot of the nonverbal learning disabilities that Misty talked about. And so school was a real struggle for me. Every day, like, I dreaded getting up, going to school in the morning. And anyway, I went to a treatment in Philadelphia where I got treatment for growth hormones, and so luckily I grew to a normal height, but I know it's not always, it doesn't always work for other people with Turner syndrome. But anyway, bullying is very common, I think, not with just girls with Turner syndrome, but with a lot of other people as well. And I only wish that they had had support groups like this when I was growing up, because I think it would have helped me a lot better in school. I wouldn't have dealt with so many days of depression, but I'm just hoping that nowadays that this will help more girls like Emily and girls that are growing up having to deal with the things that I dealt with, and that, you know, more people will become aware of this, which is why I'm glad that they have these walks. So anyway, thank you, Brandy.
Here you go, Ms. Dana.
All right, so a little bit about myself. I was actually lucky enough to be diagnosed at birth, even though it was in the 80s, because I was born in 84. So there still wasn't a lot of stuff known about it, because it was just becoming a common thing. I was born classic, so I just have one X. I was always the shortest in my class, so I was always bullied up until probably about 2nd, 3rd grade. And then that was a little bit hard because I have generalized anxiety and OCD, so coming home from school crying or just, you know, staying in my room, whatnot. But I decided to take a stand for myself and stand up to the bullies is the way I did it. So now I just thank them for the long list of nicknames I have from them that we probably all have heard once in our life. Shorty, short stuff, shrimp, any of those nicknames, you know. But not everybody's the same. Not everybody can, you know, handle it the same way. But there are support out there. Go to your parents, go to the teachers, just educate. Like Jacqueline said, knowledge is power. Educate them. If not, they're going to be ignorant and not know and continue to bully. So if you are advocating for yourself or have somebody for you to advocate with, then we can stop the bullying. So that is a little bit about myself. So with further ado, our lovely bomb.com leader, Miss Rosemary Starr Morse.
KOVR 13 and Good Day Sacramento for coming out and being here for the walk and helping us raise awareness for Turner syndrome. I especially want to thank Heather Brent from Good Day Sacramento for helping us get organized with the news crews. Anyway, I was first diagnosed when I was 5 years old. My parents were told that I would be mentally disabled, I would not be able to do anything and hold down a job. After I was diagnosed, in that same year, 1987, the National Organization of the Turner Syndrome Society of the United States was formed. My parents went through my endocrinologist at Stanford University and found out about the national organization and joined. Through that national organization, we found the Bay Area Turner Syndrome Society with Rosemary Morris, our fearless leader here. And I have been a member off and on ever since for the last 20 years. When I was 6 years old, I was in first grade and I experienced my first bout of bullying. For a whole month, I was teased by a couple of kids on the school playground, during recess, during lunch, and I finally was sick and tired of it. I went to the student teacher in my classroom, Mrs. Nagel, and she went and told the vice principal of the school, Mrs. Berry. Ms. Berry then went to the classroom of the boys, dragged them from their classroom to mine, and had them publicly apologize to me in front of my class. After they apologized, she had me step outside the classroom with them to explain why I was so short. I explained to them about Turner syndrome, that it causes short stature and that it can cause other medical defects such as heart problems, kidney problems, all the other problems that can be associated with having Turner syndrome. By the time I was done, they were crying their eyes out and apologizing to me profusely. The next day, they came up to me without having a teacher stand over them and apologized to me again and told me that if I had anybody else tease me or bully me, to let them know and they would help put a stop to it. So at the age of 6, I had already learned a lesson that it can take many years for us to learn, and that is that knowledge is power, and knowledge can stop bullying, because bullying is caused by ignorance. I want everyone here, raise your hands if you have Turner syndrome. Raise your hands if you've been bullied. Turn around and look at everyone who has their hands raised. I just want you to know you're not alone. If you're not already a part of the organization, join. You have a whole community of people that is there to help you and support you. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have one.
But unfortunately, they didn't stay for too long, was that I spoke with the national office. I am recently elected a board member, so now you have a state representative. I am the member at large. We have 2 meetings a year that we go to Houston, and then we meet at the national conference. So if there's any way that I can help your child or your needs be met, come to me, let me bring it to the board, let me help you. When I talked to the board, they told me that last year we had 25 butterfly walks and we raised nearly $90,000. So that money doesn't just pay for your super great t-shirts. That money pays for research so that the next little girl, maybe she isn't 9 when she's diagnosed and she's 7. It pays for college scholarships. It pays for conference scholarships and all kinds of things like that. So thank you for being here. Thank you for donating. Thanks, because it really means a lot to all of us. On that note, now all the important stuff. So, as Brandy said, yes, I'm getting my PhD in psychology, specifically studying Turner syndrome, anxiety, depression, and nonverbal learning disability. Can I see by show of hands who's heard of nonverbal learning disability in this crowd? That is not enough hands. NLD is seen in 99% of women and children with Turner syndrome, women and girls, 99%. So if you have Turner syndrome, you more than likely have some variation of nonverbal learning disability. It may be minor, it may be significant, it may not inhibit you academically, it may keep you from holding a job. So it's very important that you understand what it is, and if you have it in a way that's affecting your life, that you find somebody that can help get you services. I don't have very long to speak, so I just wanted to go over a couple of the main symptoms of NLD. Typically, you see visual spatial deficits, mathematical disabilities, executive functioning and struggles, and abstract thinking skills issues. If you struggle with the visual spatial disability, you may often stand too close to somebody. I just like to mess with her. You may stand too far away. They may not know that you're listening, or you may not be listening when someone's speaking to you. You may misunderstand some social cues. You may have struggles riding a bike. Maybe not actually riding it, but learning how to ride on the sidewalk and not navigating through the crowd. This little girl right here, she's got it under control. She knows exactly how to ride her bike. It may take you a little longer to drive a car, not because you can't do it, just because it's going to take a little longer for you to navigate all of the many things that you have to take into consideration when you're driving. Mathematics is very hard for people with nonverbal learning disability. It's really hard for me, and I don't have nonverbal learning disability. Typically, children who have mathematics issues have what's called dyscalculia, and that would be how it would reveal itself on an IEP or a 504 that your child would have at school. Executive functioning is very difficult to explain, but quickly I can say that it involves working memory, which is the memory that you hold right in your brain. So if somebody gives you their 7-digit phone number, it's those 7 digits that you're holding. You might struggle with abstract thinking, logical analysis, hypothesis testing, and cognitive abilities. Some of the struggles could be disorganization, such as your desk at work, your backpack, your bedroom. They may struggle following multi-step instructions. You may struggle with sitting still, working independently. If your child has executive functioning issues, you may have to remind them several times to put their shoes on and grab their backpack so you can go to school. You may have trouble managing your time or difficulty with multitasking as well. Individuals with NLD also often have some social struggles. This may reveal itself more in novel situations where they're not used to the people that they're talking to. Maybe they go to a new friend's house for a sleepover, or you get a new job and you're around new coworkers. You have to learn their patterns of speech, learn their nonverbal cues. Individuals with NLD are also prone to anxiety, depression, and this is my huge thing for you guys today. Anxiety can display even in the youngest of children, and if your child has any of these symptoms, I would encourage you to take them to a psychologist and have an evaluation. Even if you go once every 6 months, once a year, it will help you and you can monitor changes. The last thing I want to say, and probably the most important thing, is that NLD is only a set of deficits. Turner syndrome is only part of who you are. Turner syndrome doesn't define you. Neither does nonverbal learning disability. You guys can look at my 14-year-old daughter. She's a musician. She's an artist. She's a cheerleader. She's a boyfriend. She has great friends. She's a great person. Turner syndrome doesn't make her anything other than awesome. And so all of you ladies and all of you little girls, remember not to be defined by who you are, but remember to be proud and be strong. Thank you, guys.